Alright, so this is the last video where I'll demonstrate some tuples, but it's mainly lists. It's more lists and reading information from a file. So we're going to do this last two right here, this population data and World Series. So I have a file of US population. Let's see here. The file contains mid-year population of the United States in thousands during the years 1950 to 1990. The first line in the file contains the population for 1950. The second line contains the population for 1951 and so forth. Write a program that reads the file's contents into a list. The program should display the following: the average annual change in population during that time. Okay, the year with the greatest increase in population during the time period and the year with the smallest increase in population during that time period. So, let's see if I have this open, US population. So here's the data file that we're going to read. And all I did is I plugged this and put it in a spreadsheet. So I threw this in here. Here's the population, and I threw the dates over here. And to get the change, what I did is I took cell B3 minus B2, and I got this, okay? Now, if you know how to do Excel, then you click and drag it all the way down, and you get these numbers. So this is B4 minus B3. And so this is the change. And then, so for the average, what I did is I added up this column right here and divide it by the count, you know, from C3 all the way to C42, I believe, down here. Okay. So this was the average that Excel came up with. Now, I'm just assuming this is correct, okay? And I got the same thing working on my program, so I did this last night. So we'll do it again here in a minute. But then all I did is I went through the list and I looked through this. This is the largest increase, and it's from 1954 to 1955. And then the smallest increase was from 1966 to 1967. I believe I don't see anything smaller or larger than those. So that's what I did to kind of look through the data to make sure what I'm programming actually works. Okay. So let's do this and call it all right, desktop. I'll just call it main US population data. Okay, so I have a main method. Okay, so when I did this, I don't know, I didn't put a lot in main. Maybe I should have, but I just didn't. I just threw it all in here. Okay, so I'm going to have a US data list that I set up. US this is my tuple that I create. I basically assign stuff. And I'm also going to have a Am I going to need to do a change? Yeah, I'm going to need to do a change. Let me think here. Okay, yeah. That's going to be my change list. All right, so I'm going to have to do a bunch of different little variables. Count, x equals 0, total equals 0, and I'll come back and explain these. Average equals 0.0, largest year equals 0, and smallest year equals 0. Okay, so I'll have to do my for line in open, and I got to open my data file. So this is my tuples data file. I'll copy that. Okay, so I need to do here. Here. And remember, you have to have 2 backward slashes. And then I'm reading the US population.txt, US population.txt file. Okay. All right, so we're gonna build our list. So the US data.append. And we need to make sure it gets appended as an integer, all right? We'll strip the beginning and end if there's any blank spaces, and that will append that on there. And then we could say US pop data equals US data. Again, not necessary, but you know, this is the unit on tuples. Again, we cannot use a tuple here because tuples are immutable. You can't change them. So I have to create a list to append to this thing. But once the list is created, I can create my tuple right here. Okay. All right. So let me think here. We might not need to do that change list. Let me try doing this. We might not need it. So I'm just going to say while x is less than the length of our US pop data. Okay. Then what we're going to do is say total plus equals the US pop data at x plus 1 minus, let me think here, US pop data at x. Okay, so I would basically be saying, all right, so right here, well, and then I'm not really looking at that. That has a header to it on row 1, but this would be, you know, the second in our tuple. Okay, so it would be 0 plus 1 minus what's at position 0, and that's going to give me my initial change, which would be that right there. And then this gets added into my total variable. Okay, so then we just do that for every single bit of data, and I actually have to put -1 there. I forgot about that because again, we're doing +1 right here, so I'd have an index out of bounds if I didn't do that -1 stuff. So, and then what do we do? X plus equals 1, so we're doing it for every single value, and then when we're done, you know, we have a total, all right? So then we could say average, what is average, equals the total divided by X, okay? And we can do print average plus the string, what, average. So let's try this real quick and see if we're onto the US pop data not defined. US pop data. US pop data. Let's try that again. Two, 4, 4, 3, 8, 7, 5. Okay, so it's basically 2, 4, 4, 3, 8, 7, 5. All right, so that looks good. And that should be pretty easy to understand. Okay. All right, next up, we're going to say that the largest increase is going to be equal to US pop data at position 1 minus US pop data at position 0. And also the smallest increase is going to be equal to the same thing. Okay, so I got to figure out, okay, at first, this is going to be the largest increase and it's going to be the smallest increase because I take that minus that. Now, don't look at the rows here. Again, we're one off by the rows because we have a header in here. I'm just doing this because it's easier to read than that, okay? But anyway, we take that. That's at the first position, and this is at position 0, okay? So we take this minus this, and we get that, all right? So that's our largest and our smallest, okay? Then what we need to do, and I'll just assign z equal to 0, and I can say while z is less than the, now let me think of this now. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, and what I'm going to do now, notice that these are all, this is one off from here because I need this, you know, this would be position 0, and this would be position 0 right here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a new, I'm going to create a new change list because it's going to have a different length than this. It's going to be a length is going to be different than that length, okay? So, and maybe this is unnecessary, but it's not hard to do either. Just right here, all we do is say change dot append, and then we're going to append this information on here to create a change list, okay? So then while z is less than the length of our change list, minus 1, then we'll say if US pop data at z plus 1 minus US pop data at position Z, if that's greater than the largest increase, then the new largest increase is equal to that. Okay. At the same time, the largest year is going to be equal to Z. Okay. And we do the same thing here, only if it's less than the smallest, then the smallest. So if this minus this is, if this is less than the smallest increase, okay, then, you know, we're taking, you know, where we're at plus 1 minus where we're at in our, you know, that minus that and checking to see, you know, and then that minus that and checking to see, and we're checking it each time and comparing it from the original largest and smallest, and if this becomes the largest, that's the largest, and then this would be the smallest. Okay. And then after that is all done, we need to do what? Z plus equals 1. All right, so let's do this print. And we'll do print largest increase do I want to do it like that? Yeah. Plus year. Okay, this is going to be smallest. Now remember, it starts at 1950 and this Z starts at 0, so wherever it adds it up and it finds it, it's just going to do 1950 plus that year. So for the largest and smallest. So let's run this and see what we get. See if my information is correct. So do I have it backwards? It doesn't look right. So the largest, which would be the smallest here, and then so that's the largest increase. So it got that right, and then it got the smallest, but the years are definitely not correct. All right, well, then let's go back. That's weird. What did I do here to mess everything up? All right, let's look at this because now we've got ourselves a logic error, and these are the hardest to fix. So, the U.S. population data, change append, X U.S. population data total. Okay. 1 minus that. We start at 0. Largest increase. So this is actually correct. The largest is fine. It's the largest year. 1950. I think I found it. I think I found it right here. This needs to be smallest year. All right, let's run that now. Okay, largest. (1954 to 1955), and smallest 1966 to 1967. So yeah, those are hard to figure out because again, logically, or it works, but logically the data doesn't make sense. So change that. So anyway, I think this one works. I've tested it, seems fine, so we're going to go to the next one. And the next one is easier and shouldn't take as long. It says World Series Champions if you have downloaded it. Okay, so we have a World Series winners text file. The file contains a chronological list of the World Series winning teams from 1903 through 2007. Write a program that lets the user enter the name of the team and then displays the number of times that team has won the World Series. Alright, so again, let's look at this data. World Series winners. Just a list of all the World Series winners. Okay. So let's do this. We'll call it file, new file, and call it save as, I don't know, main World Series data. All right. So we'll do a define main, call main. I don't know, and here we'll do team input, enter a baseball team name to see how many times they have won the World Series. Okay, we'll do a, right after it, what will we do? Print the team has won So when I call this, it's just going to return a number back into here. On how many times that team has won the World Series. Okay, so always say count equals 0 because we're going to have a count, a World Series list. So we're going to have to build our list. the World Series data. Again, not necessary, but we're in the tuple section, so we'll say for line in, and then we'll open our data file right here, and it's called World Series Winners. World Series winners dot we'll build our list, World Series dot append, and we'll strip the line out of it. Then all we'll do is we'll say our World Series data is equal to our World Series list. And this is easy. For X in World Series data, if X is equal to the team that we entered in, then all we do is count plus equals 1. We count it up. And at the end, we'll return the count, and that will be passed back in here. So, you know, you enter New York Yankees. Let's try this and see if this works. Please enter the baseball. Okay, New York Yankees. 26 times. All right, so guess I'll go through this and see if that's correct. So we got 1, no wait, that's Giants. New York Yankees, Giants. Okay, New York Yankees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, there's 26 of them. All right, how about, I don't know, somebody that's not won as much. Minnesota Twins. I think they've only won 2 anyway, so let's just check that. I see 2 on there, but I think they've only ever won 2. So run. I'm from Minnesota, so I remember watching them when I was a little kid when they won both of theirs. So they did win 2. Okay, let's try another one. Florida Marlins. 1. Florida Marlins are a fairly new team. There's 1, 2. Florida 2 times. Okay, so yeah, I think that's good. All right. So anyway, for this unit, we've seen a lot of just reading from files and working with lists and tuples and data. So I think this is kind of a good way to wrap up this semester with module 5. I'm still going to do objects aren't required, but I'm going to do multiple videos on objects as well, so you have a good idea going in if you take an advanced Python course. So but this video is done.